We I think, physically we had shorter and more intense practices. So I think we got a lot of good fundamental work, and we also, I think, didn't overdo it physically. Our kids needed a break. They got Monday off, and of course after Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they got Friday, Saturday off from a physical standpoint. We had a good session today, went a little bit longer than a regular Sunday. But they needed some physical rest, and we needed to just get a little bit of South Carolina base, and we needed some good crossover, going good on good. We got all that done, and I think it was a good open week.
What do you see out of South Carolina?
Just they're very talented. I'm very familiar with that side of the ball because a lot of those kids are older. I'm not as familiar with the defensive side. They're very young, but they don't have a weakness on their offense. They're good up front. They're good receiver core. Excellent tight end grouping. 3 running backs can play for anybody. The quarterback's a 5th-year guy who knows the offense in and out. Coach's son, great young man. They really, if you just look at the numbers, I mean, offensively they have played extremely well this year. They're about top of the conference in about every statistic. I think they lead the conference in getting first downs. So that tells you they're moving football, and they're going to be tough to slow down.
When you see Davis, he seems like he's kind of getting back to the rhythm he was playing with last year.
Yeah, I think he had some injuries last year and was in and out of the lineup. And 2 things have happened. Number one, they've got 2 guys who can come in and spell him a little bit easier. Wiles, a really good player. And then the other, Sean, I recruited both of those kids a little bit. They're both good players. They trust them. They get them into critical situations. I think that's helped them stay fresher and better during the entire course of the game. But he's obviously having a great year. About every one of their categories individually, they've got a player ranked in the conference in the top 10. So they're very productive. And I know their offense is playing at a level that they should have a shot to be in the big picture.
Ellis, obviously, you know a lot about how they think, and obviously they know a lot about how you think. What kind of impact does that have?
I don't think it has much. To me, and I don't know, I can't speak for Coach Spurrie, but what you do is personnel driven. So I don't know if we're a lot like what I was over there, but I know we do some of the same things. We teach some of the same things, run some of the same fronts, some of the same coverages. But I would bet that we're a little bit different than we were then. And they're using a lot of formations and stuff that we had not yet seen. It's going to be critical. Formation adjustment is going to be critical. There's so much movement and shifting and motioning and unbalance and those type of things. That's going to be the biggest key. But they just, again, they've got a player in every position that can make a play. And so it's another one of these games where you can't take away one element and think that you got a shot to win it. They're balanced, and we've got to take away a lot of things and we'll have a chance to slow them down.
We usually have Dylan Thompson, the quarterback. How far has he gone this year?
Just consistency. He knows the offense. He knows where to go for football. Very few bad decisions. Most of the bad decisions he's made has been under pressure when he hasn't been protected. He knows what Coach Spurrie wants to do with football and where the read is and so forth in the passing game. And in the running game, as far as any kind of checks and things, I do most of it off the sideline. But he knows when they're in a bad play, and he knows when to look for help or make a check himself. And I think it's a big element of why they're so productive. Is he's the general on the field that can get it done.
How is Justin Garrett adjusted to being back at true linebacker?
He's been really good. I mean, he played as well as the other guys did last game and didn't practice the whole week. He's fine. There's a couple of things that pop up here and there about an adjustment or a key or something like that. I think he's going to help us a lot in that.
What does he bring to the table for you guys and being able to move him back?
Well, the biggest thing is his speed and quickness, and he's physical. But, he's a natural inside linebacker. We moved him to star, not knowing what the Reezy situation was. And of course, he's back, and he's not getting as many reps on the field as we think he should. You can't have Justin Garrett sitting on the sideline for 55 snaps. So we're just trying to find a way to get the best of him on the field in any one play. The other thing I hope maybe it allows us to do is play a little bit of too high man and other type things without taking him off the field, because he has been a dime linebacker. And if he can take that and play a tight end or a 4th receiver that we feel like he can handle with help over the top, now we can do that without substituting. That may help us down the road. I don't think it'd be anything this week, but it would help us down the road against some teams.
Ellis, is he Could he end up starting?
Justin? Oh, yeah, I think he could. I see right now it's a three-way rotation with 8, 17, 26. They both, I see them all right now trying to get about an equal number of reps. I think Swain and Trey have been solid. Justin right now is making a few more plays.
Was there a time when you were at South Carolina you felt like that would end up being maybe your last job, that you would stay there, retire, and kind of settle down?
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's my home. I grew up about 25 miles from my wife grew up there. Our relatives are all still there. You know, it was an opportunity to be a head coach. I kind of got intrigued by that. The school I had worked at, and probably the only reason that I left was, you know, just to try that. I'm very happy. He's a great man, great coach, great place to live. 2 hours from the beach, 2 hours from the mountains, and about 20 minutes from Grandma. So it wasn't an easy trip when I pulled him out of there. My wife would never let me forget it.
Is this game is it a little bit more special to you because of all those things?
Not really. It's harder for me. You know, I just think it's harder to play against close associates and friends. But after 40 years, it's getting where I can't find a team that doesn't have one of my good friends on it. So I guess I'm getting used to it. But this is obviously hadn't been that 3 years ago. And a lot of players, not a lot that I recruited, but many players on that team I was involved in recruiting. And there are probably about 14, 15 of them that were actually playing when I was coaching. So, you know, it's a little bit more familiar than some of the other programs. But, you know, I've got really close friends at Alabama, Mississippi State, and everywhere else that we work together. And it's always kind of hard, but, you know, it's fun, it's competitive. There's no live bullets, and everybody can go home alive after the game. So
Ellis, can you
not quite as bad as the Civil War was, I guess.
Sorry. Can you kind of compare Coach Spurrie, Coach Malzahn, just working with them, what they're like? Obviously, they're pretty innovative offensive guys, but personality-wise, can you just kind of compare them to?
Well, from a management style, they were very different, you know, in the structure. But the one thing they have in common is both of them, I don't know if the right word's invented, but they invented their offense. That offense wasn't borrowed from this guy and that guy and this job I had 4 years ago and another guy that taught me how to do this. Both of them took an offense that they saw a vision, and they both have such a command for it because they know exactly what they want to do as soon as you do something on defense. When I used to coach against Coach Spurrier, you couldn't make halftime adjustments or bench adjustments. You got to get it adjusted the next play, because if you did something, took something away, it wasn't going to take him another series or halftime adjustment to get you. He knows his offense, he knows what to pull the trigger, and if you take something away, he knows how you did it, and he knows what he's going to do to hurt that. So that's the two things that both of them do. They have a complete command of their offensive systems because they invented them.
Do you feel you are what you are up front at this point? And what do you guys do even during the bye week to maybe see what you can do just with the four-man rush and develop those guys?
We've tried to work on it. You know, we've worked on it quite a bit, and what we're doing is we're trying to get some guys that we can sub in there to put some extra speed on the field. Some of that has to be situational. If it's 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 5 even, if you put the speed on the field, sometimes it won't hold up against a check run. So you've got to have them in a situation either score-wise or down a distance where you know you can do it. And they're developing, and I do think that our other package is giving us more variation and more pressure right now. But we tried to work on that. We got some guys, Kenyon and Brandon King, got them some reps. They're really good edge guys. We just got to find the time that they can get on the field from a situation standpoint.
How's Kenyon doing? I know he was banged up a little bit.
He got banged up last week, so it slowed him down a little bit, didn't get a full week of practice, but he's coming along good. He's learning our base defense, but the primary thing we see him for this year is a role player, hoping to get him in on a pass situation that we can get him some pass rush.
Will you bring King in as a defensive end in the four-man front?
He's learning it. We're going to try to get him in there if we have the opportunity. He's no question the fastest off the edge of the guy.
That would be just as pass rusher, right?
Yes.
Not to make it unfairly about one guy, but Elijah Daniels is another guy who we've heard a lot about this season. I know he's dinged up a little bit in the spring at a hamstring thing, but he came in as an unarmed All-American and part of that recruiting class with Mon and Carl. Why haven't we heard enough about him here this season, and can he help generate that pass rush you guys are looking for?
The biggest problem was his missed practice time. You know, we pulled a groin early in the year, and he got behind, and I think he's still trying to catch up with some of those older guys. Going to move him inside in more of the pass rush. You know, he's had some missed sacks, he's lost contain on the quarterback a few times, and really, I don't think that's where, you know, Rodney said he needs to be inside. And power rushes is his specialty, and not on the edge, and that's what we were talking about earlier, just moving some guys around, trying to get the best combination. But I think those are the two things that hurt his production. He really hadn't had but about 3 completely healthy weeks of practice, and he's a rep guy, needs all the work he can get as a young player.
Ellis, what have you seen from Steve Roberts? He hasn't really gotten as many opportunities as Nick has as a freshman, but just can you kind of grade what he's
Yeah,
done?
he's coming along. He hasn't picked things up quite as quickly as Nick, and it goes back to his situation too. He missed some practice time with a minor injury, and it was during a time where a lot of installations going in. So he's a little bit behind in the learning curve, but he's starting to pick it up. You know, we played him in some pressure situations last week, and he did okay. Didn't have any busted assignments, but had a critical play could have made on 3rd down and let the guy run through the tackle. But he's starting to learn where to be and how to be on time, and adjustments and stuff like that, and coverage disguises and those type of things. Physically, we think he can play. You just got to learn the whole system.
Did you guys talk a lot about evaluating everything and changing anything that needed to be changing? Will there be anything different that people will see Saturday?
Not really. When we looked at it, we felt like the one area on football production that we really had to get better was pass rush. And we talked about the front 4, we're mixing some people around, and we looked at our other scheme where we're bringing our pressure games to see what else we could do. And then the other thing we feel like is practice-wise, we're going to probably go back and do a little bit more fundamentals and try to get a little bit more crossover good on good when we can. But we've got to be healthy to do that, and a little less scout team work. I think we've gotten in a routine where we're working against a scout team, too many reps and not enough good on good and stuff like that. So don't want to become an assignment team. We want to be a good fundamental team that tackles well and gets off blocks and things like that, and not try to solve everything on the chalkboard.
How are you guys doing with health? You expect anybody to be questionable Saturday?
We're good. It's just that time of the year, you got to be careful about banging on them too much. We're probably finished in the offensive line right now, and we're going to get them all back, but they're having to start practicing or either practice some without full contact just because of an ankle or a hip or something of that nature, a rib. So we haven't been able to do as much physical good on good as we like, but you have to be smart about it this time of the year.
Ellis, I know earlier this year you mentioned that with Whitaker's kind of irritating the injury, he's got to be limited during practice reps. Is that part of the reason it seems like in games, like, I mean, he's only got 3 tackles through, and even though he's participating in all 6, I mean, is he still kind of at the level you guys want him to be at?
He's playing okay. I mean, Jeff is a definite run player for us. He's not a passing down player. He's had a decent season. He's behind those other guys, though. And reps haven't been as frequent with Blackson and Gabe and Ben. And Montrevis, frankly, been a little more productive, but he's still playing. He's steady, dependable, giving us some good reps.